Traditional terrariums on a larger scale would typically have a layer of stone at the bottom, and then you would include a layer of charcoal, maybe a little bit of moss, and then your potting soil would be on top of that. Ideally, for a traditional terrarium that has the closed top on it, that you would do that in a very deep container. The charcoal, I find, is really helpful if you have a lid on your container. You could put a lid on these if you wanted, but you don't have to. The reason for the charcoal is because when you're in a closed environment like this that is wet, what happens? Things start to grow that you didn't put in there. Mold, fungus, bad bacteria that makes it smelly. And so your charcoal actually purifies that soil and the air. We're not using charcoal today because we're doing open top terrariums, which will just naturally let all of that ventilate. So to start these off, the rock layer is going to be optional. Whether or not you want to do it is up to you. It does provide the plants an opportunity to keep the soil off the bottom if there's extra water. But these are fairly shallow, so they're going to dry out pretty quickly. However, I would say it's fun to see the layers. So if you wanted to do even more than one layer of rock or something like that, or if you just wanted to, for example, take some just for looks and kind of, pull it up against the side and focus your rocks around the sides of it just so you can see rocks and not all soil, go for it. Or even with the moss. You could take the moss and line it on the inside if you wanted to see that and not soil. Why not? So there's a lot of different ways you could take this, but you don't have to do soil, or excuse me, you don't have to do rocks in the bottom first. So I'll just do it this way. For this one I'm just going to do a layer of soil in the bottom first. And depth-wise, minimum, I would say as deep as one of these pots. Because any shallower than that, you're going to have to take the roots and kind of spread them out. It's going to limit how much they can grow. So minimum that deep, as you can see there. We have a lot of different options here, and some of them are cuttings. So I would plant, if you do anything potted, I'd plant the potted ones first and then do your cuttings because you only have to stick those in around it. And they're a lot simpler to work with. Over here, I have 2 sets of plants that would ideally work well together. He's supposed to be on this side. So these are your traditional plants that would take your regular amounts of water, typically watering about once a week. Then that, if anything, this is actually a moss. So I'll talk about the different plants first so you can help you make a decision what you want. This is called spike moss, and it looks almost like a fern, but they very much love moisture. So this would be one, if you had missed anything, you could miss this one, and they would love that. Most of your other plants don't really care to be misted. It does increase the humidity around the plant if your air is dry, but if they need watered, you're going to want to water the soil, not just get the leaves wet. So this is a moss, and it's going to get taller as you see here. And then we also have bonny spider plants. So these are different than your traditional spider plants because the leaves curl. And so they stay very compact, and they're fairly slow growing. It takes them a long time. And even if they were big, they because they curl in, they're not going to be this big. They're going to be like this big. So out of all of these, this one would probably outgrow your jar first, but you'll still be able to keep it in here for at least 6 months to maybe a year before you feel like, okay, you're taking everybody else's room. I'm going to take you out and put you in something else. So these are little starters. So they have the roots little root nubbies on the bottom. So you can just stick that in and go. And then we also have the red polka dot plants, which are great for adding a pop of color. But they're more durable. If you're familiar with coleus, I think these are a little more durable than a coleus in your house. And if they get too tall, you just pick a section above a set of leaves and trim that. And then they'll bush back out. So you don't have to have one that's just growing endlessly upward. You can cut it and it'll go more like this. You can do it over and over. Yes. What's that? These, I would say you'd want to place it within 6 to 8 feet of a window, or have it in a room that gets artificial light for at least 8 hours a day. If not, artificial light still counts. Outside, these would all be plants that would need shade. So inside, you have a little more options for where they can grow. Yeah. And then this one is called Streptocarpella, which I know sounds like a disease. Streptocarpella. It's in the violet family, which you can kind of tell because when you feel the leaves, they're very soft. And so they have little hairs on them. And they get this really cute, dainty blue, purple flower. They'll flower off and on throughout the whole year. So I love them as a lot of people use them outside in the shade too, but they're also fun as a house plant. Just know they don't like to get water on their leaves. So like that's why some of these have little yellow spots on them. It's kind of like a bruise. They don't like water to hit them, but when we were starting them, we didn't really have any other option. So just know with these, when you water, for example, like this one in here, it'd be better maybe if I let the water run down the side of the jar to get to the soil, or just water next to it, and it'll wick over. Yeah. So you get to pick 3 plants. So that will be any of these would work well together. And then over here we have succulents. If you wanted something lower maintenance, not going to need watered as often, you could forget about it for a few weeks and they're not going to care. These we have, this is a Ripsalis. They are a succulent that they kind of grow in like bunches, like a section. It kind of reminds me of Good and Plenty candy. I don't know how else to describe it, just the way that their shape looks. So they will continue to get taller. You can see some of these pieces it's like they have a segment and then they'll grow another section out. So there's one that just fell off. You can take those pieces if they fall off or if you cut them off, and you can stick them back in the soil and start another one. So these are actually a whole bunch of cuttings together to get that look. Very soft. These are not needles. They're like little hairs. You can overwater them, yes. Yeah. I would go until your soil looks very light. How long it takes to dry out is going to depend on how rooted the plants are or how much water you gave it initially. So I would think light and infrequent, like the desert. Like when it rains really quick and then it's done and it doesn't rain again for a long time. So this you're probably going to be doing a couple tablespoons at a time and that'll be good. You don't want to be able to tilt this and have water run out. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to want to tilt it anyway because then everything's going to spill, but that's one thing I do like about the glass. It does give you the ability to see if there's moisture in it and get used to that. This is a Pilea aquamarine. This will crawl and spread around. Sometimes it's called a little friendship plant because he'll touch down and then eventually root where it's touching. And so he goes and hangs out with everybody, hence the friendship part of it. So these leaves, this is all the bigger they'll get. It's very nice and tidy and small. If it does get too long and you don't want it to go off somewhere in the pot, just trim it. Think of it like hair, you can just cut it shorter. You could take those end pieces and stick them in the soil as well if you wanted to keep that going. And then here we have 2 cutting sets. These are little jade cuttings. So this is off of our jade in the corner over there. He's over 50 years old, currently blooming. So you'll have to check that out at some point because they don't bloom very often. And it's pretty neat. And then we also have burro's tail, which you see here. If this was in a pot where it could lean over the edge, it would trail down, but they would just kind of lay and hang out in your soil. They can be kind of touchy in the sense that it doesn't take very much for their little leaves to kind of break off, but that's fine. If you're messing with them and they break off, just let that leaf lay on top of the soil and it'll start a whole new plant. This is going to take several months to start a new plant, where a cutting, you'll get a new plant rooted in about 4 to 6 weeks. So it's a big time saver if you can. But you can grow it from the babies. It just takes longer. So those are 2 options as well. So to plant it, like I mentioned, you can choose however you want the base to be. And then I would, again, do your potted ones first. Make a little well with your fingers. And keep in mind, you don't have to go straight across. If you wanted, you could draw it up and kind of think of like a cliff, or a hillside that's coming down, and plant one up a little higher. Oh yeah, sometimes you have to squeeze the sides of the pot to get your plant to pop out. But I'm going to put him up a little higher, for example. And then I'm just going to draw that potting soil up around it. And then I'm going to plant some other things a little bit lower. Now, the only thing is, if your potting soil is moist, you can form hillsides and things like that with it. But if it's not wet enough, you might want to add a little bit of water with the watering can. You can help that soil stay, again, by just using some of this moss, which this is dried. It's real moss, but it's dried, and it is spray painted green. So it looks like it's alive. You don't have to tell anybody it's not. You just be like, yeah, that's my moss. I'm so good at it, growing it. So this, you could take some of it and kind of use it like a wall, so your soil doesn't go anywhere before you put anything else lower. So maybe you want to stick some other things a little bit farther down here. So just another way to approach this. And then you can top it off with any assortment of rocks that you want. These are really decorative in nature, but you can use them in the bottom. I personally sometimes like the lava rock in the bottom of pots because it's porous, so it lets the water go through instead of just sitting on top of it. So yeah, just kind of play around with that and what it looks like. So as far as your selections, you get to pick out any two miniatures, and then 2 miniatures and 3 plants. The frogs and the turtles glow in the dark. So those are the most fun, I think. But I also really love the little life-size ladybugs. Ideally not, this you could put in a window. The succulents would take the more intense sun a little better. These I would put them back a little bit, or pick like a north window, because it would be so indirect if you wanted to put it like on a shelf or something like that, right by the window. These are probably the touchiest out of all of them, yeah, just because they tend to like a more humid environment, which is what makes them ideal for this. We don't typically carry these year round because if you miss a watering on them and they get all the way dry, yeah, they're crispy. But yeah, a terrarium type setting, again, helps keep it from drying out.